This podcast is produced by To the Moon Creative, located in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Whether you're an established or a new podcaster, To the Moon Creative offers the highest quality audio and HD multi-camera video podcasts. And if you already record your own podcasts, To the Moon Creative also offers affordable audio and video editing services with guaranteed fast turnaround time. For more information, find us online at www.ttmcreative.com. At To the Moon Creative, we do more than just get your podcast off the ground. We help you take it to the moon.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Model Connection podcast. I'm your host, Eric Harrell. Please like, follow, or subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at Model Connection Podcast. I have a very special guest tonight. This lady is modeling in an area that I will be first and foremost to tell everyone that I know very little about. My guest tonight is Miss Mariya West. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing well.
Great. I am so glad to have you here. Now, you are a cosplay model predominantly, correct?
Yes.
All right, now, again, I will be first and foremost. I know very little about cosplay modeling.
Mm-hmm.
So, not only will you be teaching and telling our viewers and listeners about cosplay, but you're also going to be teaching me. So, tell me, how long have you been doing cosplay?
So I've only been seriously doing it for about a year. I started,
I've seen so many images of you
yeah,
in just a year.
yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, I've only been seriously working with photographers for a year. It was a year in January.
A year in January. So you did what brand of modeling before then?
None.
None.
Zero.
So how did you get started doing cosplay modeling? I want to know. This is so interesting to me.
I've always been interested in anime whenever I was a kid, and then quarantine hit, and then I was on unemployment, and, the joys of that, I was like, I can finally do something I've always wanted to do, because cosplay is a very expensive hobby. It is in no way a cheap thing to do. There's costuming, wigs, makeup. I have like 3 bins full of costumes, a closet full of costumes. It's insane, but I don't know. I've always just been super interested in it, and then I saw the opportunity. I had plenty of time, and then I was just self-shooting on my phone for the longest time. I would go out in Nashville, take my tripod, and go in these crazy outfits and just start shooting. And then I was like, I really want nice quality photos, so I just started looking on Instagram through the hashtag Nashville photographer, and that's how I've found almost every photographer that I've worked with.
I've seen so many images of you that you have posted on social media, and the outfits are so creative. They're so elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot go to Goodwill and buy those outfits. I mean, are they handmade by you? Do you buy them somewhere from Amazon? I mean, how do you come across your outfits?
So you can go to Goodwill and get these outfits. You can. There's something called a closet cosplay, which is just like a dulled down version of cosplay that's on a budget. So you could do like colors that match that character, or find things that are like that character that work. There's always different kinds of cosplay, but most of my outfits come off Amazon. Like, I don't know how to sew. I'm not the best at it. I don't know how to I can thread a button, and that's about it.
Okay.
But I can make props. I can do that. But yeah, most of my outfits come off Amazon, and the quality is actually really good. It's not bad in any sort of way. So, I mean, I do have friends that sew. I'd love to learn how to sew. It's just finding the time to actually do it.
How did a cosplay get started?
How did what? Like in general?
Yes.
Cosplay? Oh gosh, I don't even know. I have no idea. I feel like it's just been going on forever. I mean, it comes, of course, from, Japanese culture, and it comes over from Japan and everything. But other than that, I have no idea. It's probably been going on for
This
like 100
is just
years.
so interesting to me because it is totally out of my genre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see images, and I'm going to use you, images of you on Facebook, and I'm thinking, she has got to put some time, effort into this. Uh, all, all the money that she has put towards her outfits, like you just said, your wigs, your outfits, costumes. How has it changed from day one when you started to now, if it has changed?
I mean, I don't know if it's really changed. I feel like it's the same because I've been just doing it for so long. Like the first full cosplay that I wore to an anime convention was in 2017, and I wore it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, okay, I'm done. But modeling wise, I've even when I was self shooting and everything, I still take the same amount of time. I still take the same amount of effort. Like nothing for me has specifically changed from day one to now because I at this point kind of know what I'm doing. I know how to do my makeup. I know how much time I need to, put towards something or order something. So I guess like just kind of being in like the anime convention cosplay scene for so long, it just kind of flows easily.
Tell me about this cosplay a convention.
Yes, I've been to multiple conventions. I've been there's one here in Nashville. It's called MTAC. It's the Middle Tennessee Anime Convention. I've been going to that since like 2005.
Wow.
So since it was a baby, there's a couple in Atlanta that I go to. My significant other, he goes there and he's a serious cosplayer. So he'll win awards for the stuff that he builds. He's like a
Wow.
real cosplayer. Like he hand makes everything. Hand makes leather, weapons. He has a 3D printer. He has a whole garage dedicated just to cosplay. So so I'll go down there and I'll go with him. And I just went to Katsu Con, which is up in Maryland, which for me was like one of the more elite places to go. It's like where a lot of like more of the famous cosplayers go, and you see a lot of nice builds, a lot of handmade things. And there's a cosplayer that I really like. Her name's Yaya Han, and she was there, and you can meet her. And she was out and about in her cosplays. And there's a couple Instagram people that I follow that were there. So I just got back from there, and it was a great experience. I had like 6 photo shoots in like 2 days, and I was extremely tired. Extremely tired. My friend went with me. We got to the convention at like 8 a.m., and then we didn't leave till 11 p.m., and I was just changing in and out of outfits. But conventions, it's, most of it's just walking around and looking at people in their outfits. There's a game room, there's a dealer room where you can buy merchandise, there's I guess at the bigger ones like Comic-Con, there's more famous people like actors and actresses and stuff. But there's a ton of stuff to do at cons. It's just not one singular thing.
What are some of your favorite characters that you have portrayed in photo shoots?
I really like her name's Rei Ayanami. She's from an older 90s anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion. I did about 3 different looks for her this past weekend. And I've also done Harley Quinn, which I love dressing up as her.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite outfits I've ever done. I think those are like my main 2 that I really, really enjoy doing because they always look so good on me. Like everything that, like their hair, their makeup always suits me. And there's some cosplays that I've done where like the character just doesn't suit me. And I'm like, I probably won't be doing that again. But
There are some that you just get the right vibe for, and those are the ones that you really enjoy doing.
mm-hmm.
Cosplay is still so interesting to me because I see images of you and I'm like, oh my God, that looks so cool. I mean, how did she do this? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just flabbergasted, you might say, that people can actually do that and have fun doing it. It just actually blows my mind. It really does. I mean, you are a fantastic model doing that, and my hat's off to you for doing it because you do a wonderful job.
Well, thank you.
If you were not a cosplay model, what would you be doing?
Probably nothing. I mean,
Honest answer.
I
if
mean-
I ever heard one.
I mean, that's kind of how I stumbled upon modeling anyways. My friend, my really good friend, his name's Jerry. He's one of my best friends. He actually bought me my first really nice cosplay for Christmas one year, and it made me want to really take nice pictures. And that's really how I got into modeling.
So that's what got you started. That was going to
Yep.
be my next question.
Yep.
Thank you for answering it.
You're welcome.
So everybody gets into modeling their own way. And how they get into it is so very interesting because I've not found 2 people that got into it the same way. probably never will.
Mm-hmm.
So he bought you your first costume,
Mm-hmm.
and you just ran with it, huh?
Pretty much.
And that costume was what?
It's Rei Ayanami from Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I shot with Mark Boring. His Instagram username is SMB Photographics, and he captured those. They're still some of my favorite photos I've ever taken. I love those photos so much. They're like, whenever you go to my webpage, they're like the very first photos you see. They're like on my Facebook modeling page. It's the icon. So yeah, they're one of my favorites, and she's one of my favorite characters to cosplay.
What character do you want to portray that you have not done yet that you say, I want to do this? I want to find a photographer that will shoot this with me. What is that character?
So I feel like a lot of my characters, I just think of them like, I'm going to do that. Or like I'll watch a show. I'm actually shooting with Mark again at the end of the month, and we're doing Scarlet Witch. So I've already bought the outfit. I had to buy a headpiece off Etsy. So I've already put in, I'm going to be honest, about $100 into this outfit. So, and I still have to make this prop that's going to light up. So, about another 100 just for materials. So we're going down to Huntsville to shoot at this location. So that's
Modeling is not cheap, let me tell you.
It's not.
How much money do you think you have spent per outfit?
At least $150 to $200.
Wow. And that's not Goodwill, people.
It's not.
That's Amazon. That's whatever online shopping network you can find. I mean, and I'm sure that some of these pieces for the outfit are not easily found. Is that correct?
I mean, they can, but you can type in the character you want and type in cosplay in Google, and then it'll pop up. It just depends on if it's a reputable site that you want to order from.
Yeah.
And the sizing is always weird because it's an Asian sizing. So they're generally a lot smaller. So you kind of really have to get your measurements and figure out and look at reviews. My biggest thing is to look at reviews. It'll save your life 1,000%, just from experience. But it's really not hard. You can find all the pieces that I have, you can easily find online. They're available to everybody. And that's the thing with cosplay is anybody can do it. You don't own a character. I love seeing other people cosplay the same characters, take their own spin on it. So, I mean, it's so easily available to anyone. And I think that's why more people should do it. And I love seeing people do it.
What advice would you give the young lady or the young gentleman that is thinking about doing your brand of modeling? What advice would you have for them?
I would say just do it. You don't look silly. Your cosplay looks amazing, whether you bought it, whether you made it. It does not matter. I think that's one of the things with cosplay. There's a lot of elitism, unfortunately. A lot of people look down on other people for buying outfits or, buying props. But the whole point of cosplay is to have fun and to dress up as your favorite character. So I would say for anyone who wants to do it, just do it. If you're a male wanting to do a female character, put your own spin on it, do it. No one's making fun of you. It's for everybody.
Unless you are good with your hands, sewing, crafting, I mean, you've got to go out and buy things to have your outfit, your costume to look as authentic as possible. Because if a photographer hires you for a character, he wants to actually basically see that character in front of him. He does not want to see somebody just, as I say, in a thrown together outfit. You want to see Harley Quinn in front of you, okay? And that means every little detail has got to be covered. And you've got to really do your homework. Okay, now, this outfit looks this way, so I've got to go buy this, or I've got to get this. How much time do you put in researching your character that you play? I mean, this is so elaborate. I'm just in awe of it.
I mean,
tell me all you can about this.
It really just depends. So for Rey or any of the other characters that I've cosplayed from the show, I watched that show when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I've seen that show at least 3 or 4 times. I've seen the movies. I've watched YouTube videos depicting or deciphering what the show means. So I'm very well versed with the characters and how they look. But for Scarlet Witch, I've seen the Marvel movies,
Mhm.
and I know what she looks like. But other than that, I don't know much about her. But I've seen other cosplayers, take a feel on it, and you kind of just get inspiration from different characters.
Mhm.
Um, like Harley Quinn, I've read some of the comic books, but mostly I've seen like Suicide Squad or like Birds of Prey. So that's just kind of where I get my ideas. I don't think you have to know the character super deep down to enjoy cosplaying them. If you like how they look, if you like the clothes, if you like the aesthetic, just cosplay it. You don't have to know the character 100%.
How do you critique your own images?
Oh man, it's so hard to critique cosplay because it's like I'm always the hardest on myself. Like I'll send my significant other, who like I said has won awards. I'm like, what do you think about these? And he's like, they look great. And I'm like, but do they actually? Like, do they look good? If they don't, please let me know and I will try to improve myself. But there's always like, oh, I could have moved the wig a certain way, or I could have cut the bangs differently, or maybe I should have worn contacts, or I could have done something different with my hands or facials. So it's always hard, especially when you're trying to portray a character and like have those characteristics. It's
Mhm.
it's very hard.
The sets that you shoot in, are they studio shoots? Are they location shoots? Do your costumes or the locations play a part in the other? Do you really need a certain type of set for a set costume, or can you shoot, say, Harley Quinn anywhere?
I would say no. It can't be like I would never shoot Ray in like a coffee shop because the whole setting for the show is like in this post kind of apocalyptic kind of run down kind of town. So when I shot that, we went to the mill where you can see like exposed brick. There's different like kind of moody lighting with Harley Quinn. We shot outside near some neon signs, which is
Mhm.
very kind of reminiscent of Birds of Prey. It's very like bright and colorful. So, you wouldn't want to take Harley Quinn to, I don't know, like a field or anything. What is she going to do in a field? What's she doing there,
Harley Quinn is more like an urban legend of sidewalk,
Hmm.
the city sidewalk, a lot more than a country road, okay?
Right, right.
So you kind of want the setting to match the
Hmm.
character
100%.
100%. Is that very difficult to come up with? I
No.
mean, okay.
It's really not because there's so many places you can go. You can literally type onto Google and type in like abandoned place, or even like I said, look on Instagram and look at other people's photos. And when they do tag the location, I love them to death. I'm like, yes, I would love to go shoot that location with this character. I think it would match so well. So like I said, I feel like Instagram is your greatest weapon, especially when you just search up like a hashtag, like hashtag Nashville, hashtag Nashville photographer, hashtag Nashville model. A lot of people don't use it for whatever reason, but I've used it so much to be able to find locations, photographers, other models that I really look up to.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's the easy, or even like a photographer will suggest a location. Like when I shot Ray, the photographer has shot there so many times. He's like, this will be perfect. Like you send him like images of the show or what the character looks like, and they also kind of get a feel for it. So it really helps when the photographer already has locations in mind too.
Your general go-to site for social media is
Instagram.
Instagram. Instagram only, huh? Or is it predominantly Instagram, a little bit of whatever else?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's mostly Instagram. I will go to Pinterest to find like ideas or makeup ideas, but most of it's Instagram. Like, there's just so many creatives out there from all over the world. You don't even have to keep it to Nashville. There's just so many different people, different things, different photographers out there with so many ideas. It's just so easy to find.
Are photographers posting castings for cosplay models?
I don't know. I'm not that much on Facebook. Like the only thing I do on Facebook now is just post my photos and like share like a meme or two. I try not the Facebook's a little much for me right now, but I mean, but I really don't answer to castings because I just feel like personally I won't do well, so I just don't put myself out there enough. Like if somebody posts like in a model Facebook group that they're looking for somebody, I'll be like, oh, me. But then, I just won't think anything about it. There'll be like 50 comments. If there's like 50 comments, I just won't even bother because I'm just like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
just move on.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot easier for me to just like reach out to a photographer specifically that I like their work. And I think, I would like, oh, this character or would look good with your work. What do you think? That's just been what I've been doing. I think I've only gone to one it was with Jason Reagan, and he was doing this thing at a 1087 Studios, and I went there, and it's the only kind of casting modeling group thing I've ever kind of been to.
If our producer will begin putting your images up on the monitor, I'm going to ask you to please describe what we are looking at for the people that are watching on YouTube and those that are listening on a podcast, wherever they download their podcast.
So this is Ray. This is Ray Ayanami. This is my very first photo shoot I ever did with Mark. This is at Low Mill Arts in Huntsville, Alabama. So I have on my outfit that my best friend bought me. It's made out of like a vinyl. It's very delicate. I've only worn this outfit twice because the mesh is so delicate that I don't want to break it. It's very scary. I was like, please don't rip, because then I have no idea how you can't fix it. Like,
No, you can't fix
you
that.
can't fix that. And so you have her hair. Her hair is like a blue color, and then she has like these little things on top of her head. They're like little like cat ears, but they help pilot these giant mecha like robots. It's really weird, but that's what they're there for. But this is like one of the last photos we took. He was like, let's go downstairs. I think it'll look really cool. And it's still one of my favorite photos. It's just so good. It's, she has her gloves on and everything. And I don't know, the lighting, I feel like my face looks, it looks pretty good. We've got the kind of dreamy kind of look going on.
Yeah.
And like her character specifically is more dreamy, more soft, more like kind of reserved. So that's kind of what I try to go for there. I didn't wear contacts because I'm afraid. I feel like they'll get stuck in my eyes. She's supposed to have red eyes, but I'm just not personally that dedicated to possibly having to go to the emergency room.
So there is a limit to where you will go.
Oh, 100%.
What are we looking at here now?
So this is Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey, and this was what I was talking about with taking liberties, is with the wig. Her hair does not look like that in the movie at all. I just took her wig from another movie she was in, and I was like, you know what? That looks good. I like it. The jacket was bought by one of my friends. Everything else, I think the jumpsuit was from Hot Topic. The bathing suit was from Hot Topic. I used to work there, so I got like a nice little discount. The mallet is from Spirit Halloween. So, I mean, this was shot by Nathaniel Clayton. His Instagram username is CCPorts. He's fantastic. If you ever have the chance to work with him, please do it. He's amazing. But this is in front of like Grumpy's Bail Bonds in downtown Nashville.
Okay.
So, and it was very cold that night. It was freezing and very windy, but it looks so good with the streamers on the jacket. There's like, everybody always asks me if I made that, and I was like, absolutely not. I don't know how to sew. That is bought. But I did her makeup the same, like the hearts and the blue and pink eyeshadow. But still, yeah, this is, I think, maybe like my 5th or 6th photo shoot that I ever did. And it's still one of my favorites as well.
That looks so great. Great, yes. And now, this is more mainstream modeling. Tell me about this image now.
I love this image. This is shot by Rachel Moore. Her username is Sparrow Moose Media. She's currently going to Nosy College of Art. This was her, I believe, junior year in kind of thesis thing. She was shooting these 9 different types of sunglasses. And she was like, can you dress like this vampire? And you'll be shooting in bat glasses. And I was like, absolutely. I will definitely do that. I love Interview with a Vampire. So that's what I was personally kind of going for. So this was just shot in studio. And yeah, she gave me quite a bit of direction. There was about 3 different lights on me with just a blue background. She had this cool little effect where it makes that spotlight on the glasses. But yeah, it's one of my favorites because it's just, I feel like it's different than what I normally do. I usually try to go for a more dreamy look, and I feel like this is more like intense, like, like vampire-ish.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I liked it. I mean, I liked it very much. Okay, now this is kind of like an Alice in Wonderland.
Kind of. This is shot by Tyler Gatewood. His username is Clark Cold on Instagram. He would posted online that he was doing TFP, and I was like, you know what? I really like his work. It's always super bright. I love super bright images, super colorful, super rainbow. Like this is generally my style outside of modeling. It's like super girly or like super edgy. It either goes one way. But this was like in Kentucky on the side of the road. And I think I pulled this idea off like Pinterest. There's like a girl with some balloons. And I was like, I can get those. Those are easy. Go to Party City and, just buy some. And I remember this was very hot. My makeup was running. I couldn't see. It was a great time in the middle of summer, But yeah, no, I just love how bright and airy they feel. And of course, we got the dreamy look. It could be like Alice in Wonderland. I feel
Okay,
like,
so you just pull off on the side of the road
yeah,
somewhere. The
yeah.
photographer said, just pull off. It's a good field here.
hmm
Nobody bothers. Take a few hundred shots.
I don't even think we took that many. I want to say we only shot for like 30 minutes because it was so hot. It was hot. But yeah, I really like these. If you, like I said, if you go to my webpage too, like when you go to my About Me section, that's the first image you see.
Wow.
And then when I had my Nashville Voyager magazine interview, that's the head image as well. It's just one of my favorites. It's just, I wear a lot of wigs too. I never like have my natural hair out just because I don't like shooting with it. I just love long hair and I feel like it just suits me.
Okay, now what are we looking at here now, Maria?
So I made this giant mushroom hat out of cardboard and hot glue and fabric for the Renaissance Festival. And I wanted my good friend, his name's Josh Trotter. His username is Captured Studio, but it's spelled Cap2Red Studio. We went to Bates Nursery in Nashville. They let us shoot there. They're great. If you ever want cute flower pics or fairy pics, go there. They're fantastic. But I put the outfit together. That's all from my closet. But yeah, I made the hat and I made it way too big. It's ginormous. But I just followed a YouTube video is what I did. And that hat took me maybe like 2 or 3 days to make. And then I wore it to the Renaissance Festival a couple weeks later.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I have been there a few times. I thoroughly enjoy it. Let's talk about some more elaborate costumes. The Renaissance Festival is it. They go all out. They are full into character, full into the timepiece that they're in. They do an awesome job with their presentation. Thank you for bringing those images. They are just great. The super images, I mean, I've loved viewing them. Thank you for bringing them.
You're welcome.
What has cosplay modeling taught you about you?
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's always hard when you see a character and they don't look like you don't have the same body type, and you just have to realize that if you enjoy the character and enjoy how they look, to just do it. I think modeling so much and seeing so many images back, you just kind of get a sense of like, oh, I can't change how I look, or I can't really change my body that much, or don't care to, because I'll be 31. So at this point, I'm just like, that's the way it is. Can't do anything about it. So, I mean, cosplay has given me such like a confidence boost, if anything. I don't know. It's just, I recently got some images back from Katsu Con, and there was one photographer, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. I look so good. Like, it's actually my phone background screen right now because I like the image so much. But I feel like, I don't know, it just has given me such a confidence boost. And, coming out of quarantine and, not being around anybody or anything and just really finding myself, I finally it's always scary to cosplay when you're a bit older. People think it's kiddish that you watch cartoons or anime or something like that. But I've seen, older people cosplay, like people in their 60s and 70s. It's really for everybody. But yeah, most of it's just confidence and like seeing myself on film. Because, I used to use face editing apps or, over smooth my skin and stuff. I remember my friend one time was like, that doesn't even look like you. And I was like, well, it's because I had a filter on it. But like, I've gotten over that fear with cosplay of like seeing myself. And I think a lot of models kind of have that fear anyways. Male or female, it's like you see yourself a certain way, but then you get images back and you're like, oh, that's not how I look. So it's getting used to. I've done over like 100 photo shoots now. So at this point, I'm just like, they look great. There's very few photos where I don't like them at this point.
Where do you see your modeling take you 5 years from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now with your modeling?
I hope to hone my skills in cosplaying for sure. I really want to learn how to sew and make more props. But for me, modeling has always just been something that I've really enjoyed doing for fun. Once it becomes too hard or too much work or I don't enjoy it, I'll just stop. Because I feel like if I'm not enjoying it, then it's just, what's the point in doing it? Because it originally started out as just a hobby when I was self-shooting, something to pass my time as a creative outlet. I went to school for art and, I've always been super creative. So 5 years from now, I really don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in the next week. So 5 years from now, hopefully alive, still in Nashville maybe. I would like to travel more. I really am trying to like I would love to go to California and shoot with photographers, or go to Florida, or go overseas. That's kind of what I would love to do, is really like travel more and work with some really cool people.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. That's a great idea, and I hope it really works out for you. Um, Modeling, as you said earlier, it helps build your confidence.
Hmm.
What do you feel modeling has given you the most of? Confidence or what else?
I would say so. I feel like, you're coming out of your 20s into your 30s. You don't, you're kind of finally kind of figuring out who you are.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would definitely say confidence in myself and like who I am, and being somebody of like a person of color, and everything. Yeah, it was definitely, we used to hide under a bunch of baggy clothes even a couple years ago. And now I'm just like, well, I like that cosplay. It shows a little bit of stuff, but you know what? That's totally fine. It is what it is. You know, if it makes, my whole thing is if I can make somebody like, oh my gosh, that outfit is so cool, I want to do that. That I feel like then my job's done, because I want to inspire people to cosplay more. Because like I said, anybody can do it. Kids, adults, older, whoever, disabled. That's my whole goal is with cosplaying and modeling, is just to hopefully inspire people to get into this genre.
Okay, okay. You just said you've got what 100 shots, 100 photo shoots under your belt. So you have got enough experience that I could ask you this question. What are some mistakes that you see others possibly making that if you could say whisper in their ear, do this instead, it will look better, or you will do better if you do things this way. What are some mistakes that you see other models make that you would never do?
See, that's the thing. I feel like I don't have the right to judge another model for
Okay.
something that, that I could possibly make a mistake on. There's some models out there that are so talented. I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. But I'll never put myself higher than another model, because I'll never think that I'm better than anybody else.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
just how I am.
Okay.
I guess any mistake that I would see is if, I guess on a photographer side, is if like they don't tag models, and then a model will like have a photo shoot with them. And I'm like, they don't tag their models. It's really sketchy. There's, not a lot of engagement. I would be careful. I've been put in one situation where it was very sketchy, and I was lucky to be okay, because I found out that from another model that something had happened. And I was like, okay, I don't take a chaperone with me, because I don't have anybody to go with me. So it's always like kind of tricky. I would say, public spaces are great. Don't go to
Right.
anybody's house without a chaperone, or a studio without a chaperone. But like a public space out, in the middle of the road or in downtown Nashville, perfectly fine if you don't have anyone to go with. But yeah, model wise, I am in no position to judge another model on how they do things, on how they pose, on how they do their makeup. Because honestly, I do my makeup. It takes me like 15 minutes. I'm like, great, done, easy. I'm out. So, there's some models that are great at makeup. There's makeup artists. I've worked with one makeup artist. She's fantastic, or they're fantastic. But yeah, I'll look at images. I'm like, that looks really good. And then, I'll never think of what if a model is working on themselves and modeling and doing what they love, I'll never be like, what you're doing is wrong. That looks bad.
Mhm.
There's only room for improvement, and that's on them if they want to improve themselves.
Okay. Do you ever catch yourself critiquing someone else's, another model's images?
I feel like you can. I feel like that's in everybody. You always like, oh, you know, she could have worn like a different outfit. But like I said, I feel like that just comes from a place of hatefulness, and I don't want to be hateful towards any
Okay.
model.
Okay.
Like I said, if they're trying and working on themselves and just getting into modeling, if they reach out to me for advice,
Mhm.
that's perfectly fine. I'll happily give whatever advice that I could think of, but I wouldn't even take myself seriously, because I just don't think, it's just so weird, because I don't even think I'm that good half the time. I'm like,
Oh, come on.
I really don't. I'm just like,
Come on.
I always go to photographers. I'm like, oh, like you've been modeling, you're like a professional. And I'm like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I always tell photographers when I work with them, I'm like, if I look bad or I look silly or if I'm doing a bad pose or a bad face, please just tell me you will not offend me. I do not care. Be like, Mariya, you look stupid. And I'll be like, great, I won't do that. You're not going to offend me in any sort of way. I would rather that you have good images and then I also have good images so that way I can like, if I wanted to, could publish them or like put them on my website.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather us both have good images than you be too timid and be like, oh, well, that looked really bad, but that's fine. No, just tell me.
What is a topic that is dear to your heart that you feel should be brought to the forefront that we may be overlooking, that we may just scroll past? What topic is really important to Mariya West?
I feel like there's too much competition between models and photographers. I think there's too much elitism in this whole like kind of area. And favoritism, which I feel like with anything that's bound to come up anyways. But it's just like if a photographer wants to work with a model, why shouldn't they? Or and vice versa. I don't like to. I don't see other models as competition. I feel like I'm my biggest competition. I always try to do better for myself and make my cosplays more elaborate, and try new things. But it's a lot of drama. I'm not here for the drama. I'm 31 years old. I don't care. I work 2 jobs. I don't have time for it.
Okay.
So it's just like, and then the only thing, photographer-wise, why I wouldn't work with a photographer is if, a model said that something had happened or they were rude or an allegation came up. That's the only thing that would make me stop from working with a photographer. But like, just the competition is, I'm not about it. It's not for me. I'm just here doing my thing, just rolling on by.
If you will, let's go more in depth with that. You said competition. In what way?
I would say competition with like, I don't know. Sometimes they'll like hide spots where they shoot. And I'm like, but that location is so cool. I would love to shoot there, but they keep it secret so nobody else can go there. And I'm like, well, okay, but it's just a location. It's not like it's super secret, I just don't understand that part of it. Or like they'll talk to the photographers they've shot with a lot and they'll be like, well, don't work with that model, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, well, why not? It's, I don't know. Like I would never stop a photographer. If I had an issue with another model, I would never stop another photographer from working with them. That's the photographer's choice. If they like their work, if they think they can get good images, great, perfect. I'm not here to stop you. You're your own person.
I would say I am absolutely guilty of that comment about competition and locations. I've had a location that I've shot at numerous times, but every model I've always taken there has loved it. People have asked where this is. Some I will tell, some I won't. It's just my little secret. It's my little hideaway that I want to keep to myself. But now I know there have been others that have found it, so the secret's out. I don't care anymore.
Right.
I don't care anymore. Another of the topics that you feel may need to be brought to the forefront that you feel important about, that you feel strongly about, may be what?
I would say with cosplay specifically, it's pretty dark. Like there's a lot of unfortunate like racism that goes on within the cosplay community. It's like I said, very elitist, and I would hate for somebody who wants to get into it to be scared away by certain people because it does exist, and it does exist in convention space. I've seen or heard horror stories about how there will be people of color cosplayers, and they just get torn apart because that character is not the color of their skin tone. And it's always been a topic of conversation ever since cosplay has been a thing. It's even like when I cosplay, it's they'll I haven't personally had it happen to me, but I'm sure, people say things behind your back like, oh, she's not doing it right. That's not the character's skin color, this, and that. And it's always, and I've talked to my significant other about this, it's always been a topic of conversation. Even body type, they're like, oh, well, you don't have the same body type as them. that's always like something I try to advocate for. If any young person or anybody else that wants to get into it, just do it, ignore it. It's gonna be there. It is what it is. But
Mhm.
as long as you enjoy it, just keep doing it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's hard. It's cosplay is like I said, and like I said, even if your cosplay is not up to par with some people, they really look down on you. They're like I said, they'll be like, "Oh, well, you bought your outfit, so you're not a real cosplayer." They'll say that to your face, and it's just like, but I enjoy cosplaying. I enjoy the character, so why does it matter? But I feel like maybe with modeling, it's the same thing. I think it's just kind of full circle.
It is because I think when you do your brand of modeling, you've got to learn how.
hmm
You've got to learn how to portray your character.
I mean, not necessarily, because I'm definitely not that character 100%, and you don't have to be, especially not during a photo shoot, because it's like, your photo shoot's 30 minutes to maybe an hour.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you can try it, like, and do facials, but I mean, there's some facials that just don't look good on camera. And there's only
Okay.
some facials that maybe the actor specifically can do. So, my whole thing is, I'll try to like kind of embody that character a little bit, but I'm not a full on 100%. I'm going to get in this character and act crazy kind of thing. That's never been my whole goal with cosplay. But there are some people that really, really get into character, which, I applaud them for. But personally, I'm like too afraid to do it. I'm like, oh, I can't act crazy like Harley Quinn. She's bonkers, man. She's wild. But
I tried.
I don't know. I'll just.
And guys and gals, if you are looking for a cosplay model, I can tell you firsthand, you will not go wrong in working with this lady. I mean, I can highly recommend her just from talking to her. Mariya, one last comment from you to the photographers out there would be
I also don't charge anything. My services are free. So please reach
well,
out. I
can't
don't.
beat that, can you?
I don't know. I'm down for anything. If you have any characters you want to do, I am up for traveling. I'll go to Kentucky, Atlanta, Alabama. But yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for being here. You have been just a delight to sit down with and talk to. Your images are just fantastic. Uh, you brought a new sense of modeling to my world. I mean, one that I'm not used to, but it is so wonderful that you're doing this, and I thank you for that.
Well, thank you for having me.
And with that being said, I want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Model Connection podcast. Uh, Please like, follow, or subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Follow us on social media at Model Connection Podcast. Thank you, everyone.